Hello and welcome to Ender's Indies. Today we're playing Of the Devil, which is another one of my Magfest games that were showcased at Magfest. It's a visual novel. We're going to play episode 0. Episode 1 and 2 are currently out right now. This visual novel seems to combine two of my favorite things, gambling and murder. So I'm in. I'm pretty much sold already. Rain sizzles off neon above me. The summer shower creates a noted uptick in the flickering of holograms down the street, and a slight blunting of the night's ambiance. Emphasis on slight. Lights, camera, and constant noise. This city's got insomnia, with the uneven heart rate to prove it. There's no escaping the secondhand nervous energy of it all, but I'm plenty acclimated. Just a wave of worries cresting on the surface while I hold my breath deep below. Besides, a microdose of nightlife anxiety suits my mood just fine. Because if I'm not careful, this client of mine's gonna die in jail. You hate to see it. That's us. Morgan, criminal attorney. It's hard to get away with murder these days. So true. People are still presumed innocent, at least on paper. But by the time they're in cuffs, there's hardly any shadow of doubt left. Because this whole world's lit up, mapped out, never unknown, and always online. Whether it's incandescent or neon or hollow, whether it's LCD, LED, or just the nearest phone screen, there's light shining on every last pixel of the map. And someone's always watching. Solitude's a rarity, anonymity, anonymity is scarce, and criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. Guys, gambling! So you take whatever clients you can get. You don't balk at public defense work, no matter the hour. And should you find yourself in one of the last dark, quiet corners left in the whole world, well, smoke 'em if you got 'em. We be smoking. Not that there's much else I can do, until... Look at the smoke. Alright. You guys are gonna get tired of me saying this from all of the Magfest games. That smoke has got fucking sauce. Oh, I scrolled too close to the top and I've got evidence. My phone? Counselor, your public defendant contract has been approved. We're currently texting with the state system. You are expected at the 254th precinct. Present your ID at the door to enter. Arrive at least 15 minutes early. The eyes, man. I'll try. Heart. That's how I text the state system, too. Looks like the paperwork came through. It's nearly 3:15 now. 19 minutes since I took the job. So it's been... Probably makes it about 2 hours since they finally got smart enough to ask for a lawyer. If they're really smart, they'll have used that time to get some rest. Is my head in the way of some words? Because now that I'm here, things are gonna get busy. It looked like they weren't. Of the Devil, Episode 0. And he shall appear. Disable tutorials? Oh man. I'm normally not a tutorial disabler. But like, I know visual novels. I play a lot of these things. Look, we'll keep the tutorials enabled that way. You know, if I miss something, I don't blame the game. But I am a visual novel head. And a murder mystery visual novel head at that. Suspect hashtag not found. Precinct 254. Well, this place looks lovely, doesn't it? It's a goddamn ghost town. With nothing but a hologram for a welcoming party. I'm here about a homicide. High clearance rates be damned. You'd think they'd treat it with a little more gravitas. But whatever. If I'm that unimportant, they've got no right to complain if I take my sweet time getting checked in. And I should take my time. Information's like cash in my line of work. You gotta spend it to make it. And if you're flat broke, no one will give a shit what you have to say. So let's see if I can't poke around and shake some change loose. Alt, heads up. Press the phone button or tap the phone icon in the top left to access the pause menu where you can save, load, or check settings. think this is our tutorial here. You can toggle an auto-advancing text with the auto button or check previous lines with the backlog button. Look around for points of interest you can check to investigate the area. You'll earn credit for investigating anything and everything you can. Credit is both a measure of your information gathering skills and your own credibility. So don't go broke. We got the king of hearts. I like that the hearts is the emoji. Okay, so far very familiar. An actual police lineup. It's like I walked into a museum, though museums tend to feel expensive and clean, dusty, forgotten, probably lots of unpacked boxes. This homicide department's more like an attic. Hard to believe they were ever so busy that they had witnesses making IDs in the lobby. Then again, it's hard to believe they were ever doing lineups in the first place. Are you certain? Wasn't it dark? Did you know that during traumatic events, memory formations is blah 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 blah? Poking holes in that setup must have been like shooting fish in a barrel, and all during billable hours. But there's no room to sow doubt anymore. Not when a modded witness can just submit their testimony as a video recording. Assuming their phone didn't automatically file a police report for them. Alright, so we're in the future. Let's examine. The medium's cracked in the corner. Looks bad, but my phone's made of the same stuff and I'm rolling the dice every time it falls off the sofa. Could probably null the warranty on one of these things with a loud sneeze. At least it's not broken. Entirely. Even at this hour, it's still dutifully scrolling through its notifications. This desk is programmed for check-in and information. Only. Looks like the usual 1-to-1 ratio of public health alerts and inoffensive pop culture trivia you always get served at state buildings. But there's a few missing persons, too. 1 year of silver playing coverage, courtesy of Caduceus as a reward for any. Silver's no joke. Family must be getting desperate. We got some health benefits, or lack thereof. High traffic hallways, utilitarian furnishing, multiple screening stations, pragmatic brutalism so textbook it could teach freshman level architecture. You can almost hear the building drone on and on about concrete and iron and hard right angle. The civil planning equivalents of battle scars. From a fight won so long ago that they're starting to look ridiculous. I'm sure it was all very imposing back when it was built. But walking in here now with crime rates where they are, feels like a hospice ward for heavy-handedness. We seem to get we got a little bit of sass in us. A data pad? I'll bite. Even when they're more advertisement than article, they can still be informative. In a flowery, roundabout, corporate propaganda sort of way. Keep an eye out for articles in the environment. They offer insight on the world, and you get credit. Articles are added to your phone's reading list after you first read them. Choose the proper takeaway after reading them, and you'll, oh, okay, so I have a reading comprehension test. Luckily, guys, I used to be a Destiny lore nerd. The only time I've ever preceded that with luckily, I've got reading comprehension skills. More than the average gamer, I think. Subway fixes axed, city to refocus on canopy. Declaring the subway tunnels to be irreparably flooded, city engineers announced this week that all plans to drain and repair the system are being suspended indefinitely. Saltwater damage to sensitive electronics cabling and erosion of key tunnel fixtures were cited as reasons for why 89% of the subway system was evaluated as critically compromised or worse. Civil engineering efforts will be refocused on maintenance and expansion of the hybrid super infrastructure system that weaves together trams, highways, walkways, and skyscrapers into the canopy, high above our city streets. Reactions to the announcement could be characterized as blasé. How do you pronounce this word? I was just actually looking up at this word the other day. Blasé? It means, like, not very excited. It's been years since the subways last ran, and decades since they last ran on schedule. Most citizens have long since given up on hope of them ever making a comeback. Online chatters barely reacted to the announcement, with most commenters and voters' attention focused instead on the growing investigations into Councilman Long's campaign finance irregularities. As one of the Canopy's major backers in City Hall, Long has often found himself at the odds with a small but vocal group of critics that consider it to be an eyesore and an amplifier of light and noise pollution, and with Long having stepped away from his political duties in order to more fully cooperate with investigators for the first time in nearly 20 years, the typically rock-steady political foundation of the canopy was looking uncharacteristically shaky going into this week. But with the subways now officially no longer an option, people and corporations alike have little choice for how they're going to complete their morning commute. However, not all reactions to the news have been negative. At least a few bold individuals see this latest report as vindication and possibly even a rallying cry. Already considered to be by many to be a rising star in infrastructure solutions abroad, tech startup Subterra made headlines last year with their radical proposal for a system of personal submarine taxi pods. That sounds dope, except for I bet they're dangerous. That can make use of the flooded subway tunnels. Oh, that's even doper. But momentum stalled when their first prototype for the cities came in at a disappointing 3,359% over budget. That's fine, that's not even that bad. Though one council member was quoted as calling their system mind bogglingly wasteful and impractical in the extreme. In light of this latest announcement, Subterra has proudly declared their intent to resubmit their proposal package. Across the entire globe, coastal cities like ours have struggled to find civil engineers and answers to rising sea levels and subterranean flooding that satisfy financial, practical, and aesthetical concerns. Historically, most scientists have attributed this increase in the sea level to climate change, though there are dissenting voices. Water rises and falls all the time, for reasons we do not fully understand. Yes, so true. So true, bestie. Are we too? It appears that you have 0 free articles remaining this month. Please verify your account information in order to continue reading the stories on that matter. Okay. Well, my takeaway was that it seems like they're forcing this canopy system on people. But we'll see. As if you reach for my wallet after having to read a word like aesthetical. Besides, I got the gist of it. The takeaway is that the city will be focusing its efforts on the canopy, guys. Guys, my reading comprehension is crazy. There'll be increasing scrutiny surrounding the canopy now that there's no plan B. It's a massive project with a massive budget, lines the pockets of a lot of people, big and small. None of them would appreciate bad press at the moment, not when Councilman Long's already thoroughly chummed the waters. Alright, I've taken in all the scenery and learned as much as I can here. Time to get checked in. Oh, look at this little desk hologram. Isn't she nice? It booted up fine, so far so good. Good morning. Morgan, here for the public defender contract. Could you please provide your name and... Great, please stand still for a moment. I wouldn't call intake hollows charming, more like harmless, but that's probably what the designers were aiming for. People don't mind a quirk or two in their text so long as it never speaks out of turn. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble placing you. Could you please provide your name and date of birth? So far so good, was it? Can I scan my card, I guess? Say, why don't you just scan my ID card? Right. Now you could just confirm your date of birth for me? Why do they even bother asking? My birthday's on the damn ID card and my profile. Alright, it's we're getting December 26th. Just I don't know why I said it like that. Likes puzzles, me too. Smoking, it depends. Wooden furniture. Dislikes commercials, hairdressers, jogging. Can fall asleep in any position. I cannot do that. I wish I could. I can only fall asleep in like one position. December 26th will be my birthday. What is... Oh, we've got some stuff to read. Or I'm not gonna read all this. Don't worry. You know, well, I want to show off the game. I almost returned to the title screen. I'd have to be a world-class airhead to get this question wrong. No problem. My birthday is December 26th. I just read my profile, so I know. Perfect. Good morning, Morgan Counselor. Thank you for your timely arrival and for taking on this public defense contract. If you're ready to speak to your client, you can proceed to counseling quarter 3C. Is that what we're calling it now? You mean the interrogation room? I'm sorry to have caused any confusion. My vocabulary is regularly updated to better reflect state standards. We got some big brother shit going on. Don't sweat it. I can't keep track of every new euphemism either. They could call it the involuntary wellness check room if they like. Doesn't change the way it makes a person feel sitting in a stifled box of one-way panels. Nothing to see but their own reflection, dully warped across gunmetal walls. Morgan Counselor? Can I help you with anything else? Choices that progress the story forward will cause other options to shrink away when selected. Choices that will take the conversation down side paths and before returning to this point will not. Because of the article you read earlier, you've unlocked an additional choice in this dialogue. Read and examine every opportunity to build your knowledge and get the most out of every conversation. So, okay, see, so no thanks is the option that will continue. I like that there's an indicator for that. Not enough games will do that. Why the disrepair? I know the city's not terribly concerned with the lower wards, but this is a police station. Why is it so goddamn dusty? This facility is currently undergoing renovations. Since when? The 60s? It has been 22 months since the timetable was last updated. They really don't see a lot of action around here, do they? I'm sorry for any inconvenience you might encountered. I'm adaptable. What about you? Are they ever gonna fix that crack? Thank you for asking. It does not interfere with my work. Well, that's all that matters, right? Ask, what are you? I'm a smart user interface, proudly sold by Noble Electronics. Thank you for asking. If you're interested, I could send you a link with information about our subscription packages. Should I send you a link with information about our subscription packages? I'm good. No. Sorry. That was a mean question to ask. That'll be all. Thank you. You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office through the door to your right. Thanks. But I think it's just for me now. So you could go on a break if you'd like. Automated dependents do not take breaks, Morgan Counselor. Then what were you doing before I walked in? You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide. Okay, that's not creepy. Through the door to the right. Thank you. Ads don't get breaks, and they don't get my jokes. But it's usually the humorless types that are the most fun to mess with anyway. Eyes gone bad or something? Eyes gone bad or something? A voice. No, voice is coming from down the hall. Muffled voice. Compared to yours? Probably. Thank God I stopped for directions. A building this empty, the desk could have just told me to follow the echoes. One voice sounds older, rougher, and decidedly low energy. Appreciate you worrying about me. I forbid I try to be serious, while the other rings with youthful indignation. It's not like our job is important or anything. Definitely cops. In this precinct, at this hour, that might be the only two living, breathing people in the whole complex. Because why else would you bother to print all that out? One document, or 100, looks the same on a datapad. Anytime you question a suspect, you need to have a heavy file in hand. Makes them think you know them better than the priest or their mother. Their big brother? I wasn't gonna say that. So how many of these sheets were blank then? Alright, we've got detectives in here. No red carpet tonight, officers? Good, question mark, cop. Oh, sorry about that, ma'am. We don't keep many extra hands at around these hours. Probably faster to let the desk handle intake anyway. But mostly cheaper. This is the bad cop. You can tell. You the lawyer? I am. Morgan Esquire, pleased to meet you. Same here, counselor. Kasim, London. And the ball of sunshine here is my partner, Farah Reyes. Ball of sunshine? She certainly is. Huh? Sorry if you were kept waiting. Chatter between the departments has been hectic all night. It's no trouble, give me time to enjoy my cigarette. Cigarette? Like tobacco? What are you, 80? She can't be more than a few years younger than me. We're the detectives in charge of this particular case. And it looks like tonight we're also your humble guides to the illustrious homicide department. Apologies in advance for any cobwebs. Pretty sure I've seen this London character around the courthouse before. He never struck me as more than just some old timer. He's got a vibe. He's got some sort of vibe. But I suppose being an old timer is an accomplishment in and of itself in his profession. He's got a vibe, guys. Sunshine is definitely a new face, though. Rigid in her posture and her attitude. 3 in the morning and her shirt still looks ironed. Freshly promoted, maybe? 2 whole detectives working at these hours? Sounds serious. Unless you were just the first to arrive on the scene? No, no, we're not nearly that timely. Uniforms responded to the emergency calls within a few minutes. Calls, plural. Must have been quite the commotion. Look around you. You think we're the first to arrive for anything? She's not wrong. We were only tapped after circumstances at the scene indicated involvement with an ongoing investigation. Our ongoing investigation. Not very subtle, is she? But I may as well bite at this point. So you suspect that this client of mine is involved in some separate criminal activity? Wait, did they really not? No, I guess they wouldn't put in a public defender's briefing. Look, consider this a little professional courtesy, a fair warning, yeah? That's the heartbreak killer in that room. Dot dot dot. And we've got the bastard dead to rights. So if you're kind, you'll help him plead it out. And if you're smart, you'll pass this shitstorm on to some other night owl and go back to bed. I'm not feeling particularly kind or smart at the moment. Took a sip of water. So perhaps in the meantime, you'd be so polite as to fill me in about this heartbreak killer. They're like, what? You don't know? They cover utilities at the rock you live under? Is there a problem? You're seriously not familiar with HK? Never heard of him. I've heard enough of him for a lifetime. That name has been plastered all over the city for weeks, their crimes wavering between breaking news and urban legend. Their presumed goals flip-flopping from unadulterated anarchy to unappreciated vigilantism. At street corners, in the media, on the net, everyone's indulging in the exact kind of armchair detective speculation that I can't stand. But right now I need to figure out exactly how much the police do or don't know. And when it comes to cops, I always get better results playing dumb than I do acting smart. I take it he's a repeat offender? Was it the killer part that tipped you off? You must have at least heard about his MO. Media's gone crazy with it. Along with everyone else. 1 bullet, straight through the heart. Body left to lie where it falls. Hence the name Heartbreak? We're smart guys. Not exactly creative, but amidst the swirl of every other 100-word article out there, catchiness trumps originality. What you won't read about online is that all 6 of HK's victims were shot by the same gun, without even needing to reload. Oh, that's cool. He's got the 6-shot revolver. 1 shot, 1 kill, 6 people. There's a little revolver up there. Do you see it? Again, guys, this game's gone sauce. Horrible to say, I know, but 6 for 6? That's pretty good shooting, isn't it? Hitting the bullseye at the shooting range is good shooting. Doing it 6 times in a row is great. But shooting 6 people with accuracy like that? It's a whole different beast. Takes a certain kind of monster. A real freak. His pulse probably didn't even rise. I see. We're gonna go sounds robotic. You almost make him sound like a machine. Is it possible that... No, it is not. There's no such thing as killer robots, madam. Of course, my mistake. So all those androids marching in the military, those robots patrolling the police uniforms, those drones dropping firebombs from the sky, I guess they're all firing blanks? Fair enough. Machines can kill, and they have been for decades. But they don't commit murder. Right. Evil like Heartbreak is all organic. That's a pretty terrifying thought. I should really start paying more attention to the news. How I managed to miss 6 murders. Well, you can only blame yourself for mixing 5. Pardon? You're still not getting it? HK's 6th victim was found a few hours ago, where we caught the son of a bitch red-handed. So you're convinced that my client is the Heartbreak killer, and tonight was just his latest crime? That's a serious accusation, with very serious consequences. I take it you have serious evidence to back that up. I presume they have the gun that did the other 6 kills. I was being literal, counselor. Red-handed. When we found your client, he was covered in her blood. Oh. What, do they have the gun? Well, that's not good, is it? What you say certainly sounds compelling. That lawyer talk for open and shut? But even if that's the case, how does one crime scene make him look good for 6 murders? It's all in there in the discovery files. And the arcs, of course. Join the local net on your phone and we'll turn everything you need. I'll bet. Thanks for that, detective. I'll be sure to read it over. But if it's all the same, could I ask you two some questions while I've got you here? The hell kind of attorney wants to interrogate the detectives? This kind of attorney. You're just that pleasant. Come on, sunshine. Not like we're gonna be punching out anytime soon, right? Whatever. Let your clients do an interrogation for all night, for all I care. And Tara, you mean the counseling quarters? Morgan's got sass. We're at your disposal, counselor. Alright. We're gonna take some inspections here. Barren, stark, and uninviting. This must be Reyes' desk. Keeping your workstation neat and tidy is admirable, but it can't spot a single note of personalization. She so new she hadn't had time to unpack, or is she really that uptight and boring? Both, maybe. You shouldn't have cleaned up so much just for little old me, Detective London. Someone really needs to introduce this guy to a filing system, or even just a stapler. Paper documents scattered about lazily alongside actual photographs. Either he's really old-fashioned or really paranoid about data leaks. And he doesn't look like the paranoid type. Well, orderliness aside, some things are better in paper. I'll give him that. Those wires, missing panels, or loose wires, missing panels, an aircon system that probably sweats more than the people it's supposed to cool. No room in the budget for making the office not look like shit, huh? I expected to find a lot of belt tightening at Homicide. But I didn't think their operation would be this bare bones. They've got a stunning clearance rate and they work fast. Guess the city sees that and just assumes their job is easy. Maybe their job is easy. What with our dear, doting surveillance state eliminating so much of the footwork. But if your wheels don't squeak, you don't get your palms greased. So Homicide ends up as the only state department with a shrinking budget. A dumping grounds for the police force's most unambitious and least popular. Well, seems like we've soul read these guys. Oh, we got a thing here. Should I skim this one? We're gonna skim it. We're gonna skim it and see how good it's highlighted in yellow, what I should be reading. Surging sales of Animate 16 Noble Electronic stocks rose to 3%. Yet to surpass the sheer popularity of predecessors, so this must be like a movie, or latest Noble androids. So this is actually a new type of android. Many investigators were skeptical when their now infamous 2008 Noble had the first generation of androids to feature over 50% organic compounds. Okay, that sounds more warm androids. At the time only saw demand in the health, senior, and child care sectors, were looked down upon as impractical due to increased maintenance costs, cuts, scratches, bruises, and the like. So they're humans. They're human-y. Fringe religions or traditionalist groups might find warm androids controversial. It alienates its customers in the industrial and military sectors in order to cater to civilian customers. More business-minded folks feared that. So it was more leaning towards like childcare people. Animate 16 is poised to break the profitability records. So they're doing gangbusters. No signs of slowing down. The work of Noble's famed lead programmer, Dr. David Asher. Lead programmer is the understatement of the century. Hashtag Noble Industry Weekend. Because of his Turing solution that every Noble product, from the sleekest assistants to the most advanced intense care technicians, are so beloved and trusted by our customers. Dr. Asher himself was nowhere to be seen. Hey fam, looks like you're not logged into this device. Want to help put in your account info so we can keep you reading? So we got cut off again. David Asher is missing? Okay. He might be dead. He's in the news again. It's no wonder. Can't spit without landing on a piece of noble tech these days, especially not with the states involved. Don't know if they'll bite when it comes to warm androids, though. For government use, they're just too frail, I think is the vibe that they were going for. All androids undergo wear and tear, especially if they're directing traffic or suppressing crowds. So if these warm androids bleed pink all over themselves every time they take a rock to the cheek, it's just an endless stream of bad photo ops waiting to happen. Because they got blood in them. Nothing else jumps out at me around here. I've got a better idea of who I'm dealing with, at least. Now I need to check out the crime scene data. I should have been sent a link. You've been granted to state files regarding case KL433511. Khaleesi. Reply C to confirm. Confirm. You need to reply C in order to confirm. Am I talking to a person? I'm an automated dependent. Ads are usually more polite. Our personalities are tailored to suit our users' preferences. So the state likes you to be a little authoritarian? You need to reply it's C. C. It's case sensitive. C. Thank you. We got the link. Alright. If I project it from my phone. Alright, we're locking into the fucking mainframe. Doing brain math. Entering science. Oh, it's an actual crime scene. Okay. Alright. Can I click around now? Alright, let's see what the police have. And what they think is important. Okay. Well, I was talking about that gun. Let's just look at the gun. The murder weapon, a revolver, found right next to the body. 6 empty casings found in each of the 6 chambers, meaning the gun's been fired 6 times. Looks like the crime scene techs practically disassembled the damn thing. But all they found were fingerprints belonging to my client. So he was found by the police with the murder weapon right in front of the body. I don't even know where to start. Highly prejudicial would have been an understatement. I mean, it does seem like things are not looking great. The victim's body. Cause of death. Ballistic trauma, class 4 blood loss, atrium and aorta, single gunshot wound to the heart, in brief. Death was instantaneous. No injuries anywhere else, and no blood or skin under her nails. Blood splatter, forensics, and all that other good stuff. Tells them where she was shot. Tells them that she was shot from there. So the killer was standing in the doorway when they fired. Alright, so they entered in with the doorway, fired a shot. Looks like it broke this. The stand-up mirror shattered and knocked over. Real glass, no screens or cameras here. It was hit hard enough to come unattached from its arm, while shards of glass were scattered, far enough to land on the victim's body. On the victim's body. Is that not weird? What a mess. Shouldn't the shards be under the victim's body? Because the bullet would have shattered the window and, well, Seems like this vase got tossed aside at some point, and yet there's not a scratch on it. Must be pretty damn durable. Isn't art supposed to be delicate? Maybe it's making a statement. That's all the big ticket items. What about the security? Looks like the apartment was unlocked all night. It's not uncommon for people their age in a neighborhood like this, but no signs of forced entry only hurts my client's case. What about the rest of the room? There's not much else flagged here. Just a lounge chair that got thrown and whatever that is. Unidentified ceramic debris. Flag is irrelevant. That's their technical assessment. Guess even the crime scene techs weren't sure what to think of it. Okay. That's everything that the police highlighted. But did I miss anything? We do ... Alright. You guys... What the hell? Something in the victim's hand? How the hell did... It's just a pill organizer. Looks like some immune adjusters, NSAIDs, and... Trifrexosome. triprexisone, a synthetic gluco glucocorticoid glucocorticoid medication taken daily to reduce rejection symptoms like phantom pain and generalized itch. Okay, so that's probably means that this person had augmentations, body augmentations. The autopsy said her tox screen was clean, but it's not like it matters. She could have swallowed every medicine cabinet in the city and it still wouldn't change the cause of death. It's odd, but ultimately irrelevant. Everything here is all very incriminating, but the kicker is everything that's not here. No out-of-place DNA, footprints, crumbs, nothing that points towards anyone except my client. Well, I've done more with less before, but not much more. I'm really gonna have to sing for my supper this time. Better get start. Who the hell's messaging me at this time of night? First person who comes to mind is, I suppose it could be something important. Currently texting with Brat. Red. What couldn't wait until morning? Good news, of course. Got a job for you. That's a pretty cheery way to tell me you violated parole. Lol, not that kind of job. Besides, I've been covering my tracks. This is something different. Kind of thing I can't handle with just a keyboard and phishing scheme. I need you to sue my gym teacher. Not that kind of lawyer, sorry. Hey, at least let me finish. What did they do? Make me run laps. Not illegal. Let me finish. They made me run laps. Even though I said I had a stomach ache. Said. Gotta be like youth endangerment. Depraved indifference or some kind of shit. Sounds like you already got a strong case. Try self-representing this time. What's with the blow-off? Nice phrasing. Oh wow, I'm laughing so hard right now. See? Is that your mugshot? I wasn't gonna not get a copy of my mugshot. Just sent me a picture of their own mugshot and use it as a reaction. Like, is it bad that I kind of want to get a mugshot taken so I could do that? How do we make this happen? Guys, how do we make this happen? But I don't want to actually get in trouble. Glad you find a use case, but I'm working right now, so anything cool? Homicide. Oh, cringe. Wait, what kind of homicide? Is it HBK? It is HBK. Is that the kind of morbid thing kids your age talk about? Teens my age. And yeah, we can read. Compared to the corrupt shit in the headlines, old-fashioned murder like Hardy B is like quaint. They call him Hardy B. Like, it's not heartbreak. Then why'd you take the job, lol? You see the 98% conviction rate of the challenge or something? You're taking up lost cause, probe knows work. It's pro bono. That was autocorrect. You know they give it lit homework, or they give lit homework for a reason, right? This is borderline concerned nagging. Maybe you really are a bleeding heart. Or just a sucker. I'm not a sucker. Nice phrasing, lol. You should go to bed, Fran. Tomorrow's Sunday if I can stay up if I want. Or tomorrow's Sunday I can stay up if I want. Tomorrow is Sunday. Because today is Saturday. What's with the Carpe Diem shit? It's nearly 4 a.m., kid. You've got school in like 3 hours. Shit. Repeat offenders may be good for business, but that kid's bad for my blood pressure. Important text message, I take it? Just your typical teenage drama. So then, you wouldn't mind filling me in on a few details. Let's ask about androids and cops. By the way, I couldn't help but notice that you're light on staff. It's 3 in the morning. Were you expecting a parade? I thought there'd at least be a few androids around. Aren't many androids in any police stations this week, not while the brass is renegotiating contracts. Contracts with Noble? Good guess. Hardly. They're the biggest. Hardly. They're the biggest robotic corp there is. Could spend all day in City Center without leaving their office's shadow. Yes, we're very fortunate to have them headquartered here. Saves us some money on shipping at least. But these talks never last that long. I'm sure they'll be back to writing checks for Noble ads by the end of the month. Even with a Noble pushing those warm androids. Warm. Ugh. Might as well call the adult line. Might seem in the bigger departments are out on patrol, but not around these offices. Warm or cold, there's no such thing as an android detective. Yet. Tell this guy to play Detroit Become Human. Or don't, because it fucking blows. Any day now? Guess we should be expecting those any day now. Maybe android lawyers, too. Get some android politicians and we have the full set. Get real. People might like ads who do what they're told, but they despise ads who tell them what to do. I'm not so sure. Cameras, sensors, satellites, we already get all of our facts from machines. Give it a few more years, it might make sense to let machines do the investigating too. The union would. The police union wouldn't let that happen. She needn't have specified. It's the only real union there is anymore. Alright. So none of these will actually end, so we are gonna have to click on all of these. What? Not that I wouldn't have anyway. Checking my phone here, and I have to say, you've done a pretty admirable job keeping the details of the HK's crimes a secret. The less reputable sites are doing some real journalistic acrobatics trying to piece together a story. Yeah, top 11 theories on who hurt HK was a real weighty read. Not just journalists, though, all kinds have been emboldened. The freaks that HK's managed to bring out of the woodwork in just a few weeks. Can you blame him, though? I mean, he's a genuine serial killer. Repeat offenders in general are an endangered species, but he's gotten away with. We know what he's gotten away with. Take a look around us, detective. National DNA registry is robust enough that cases never go cold. Cameras on every street, a phone on every citizen, violent crime at an all-time low, and clearance rates at an all-time high. But you're gonna spout about some alt-pol bullshit about invasion of privacy? No, I'm not. People are safer now than at any other time in history, detectives. So when someone like the Heartbreak Killer does come along, good point. I'm just trying to look like he can laugh it off, but pressure from the higher-ups must be reaching its peak. They want, maybe need, to see someone charged, and that makes them predictable. What the hell is that? What was that? Why did we turn evil? Even if there's nothing standard about HK, Department SOP still dictates that we starve the media for case details. That way, when we do feed them, they're grateful for whatever scraps they get. But we can't take all the credit this time around. Homicide's tight-knit and tight-lipped, but it's not like there's much information for us for leak in the first place. Why is that? Because none of the shootings were caught on the opt-in crime surveillance system. How is it even possible? I know that there's some rougher areas in the lower wards, but Optics is watching every other street in the entire city. You're saying you haven't seen this killer on camera once? You'd think we'd have let him kill 6 people if we did? I understand you're concerned, ma'am, but Optics is only what it says in the name. Private surveillance system signing up to feed into the state's security network. It's not perfect, just another one of many public safety tools in our belt. It's not meant to be perfect, it's meant to help us solve crimes, or at least act as a deterrent. One would hope so. Fat chance, deterrents are for war rooms and board meetings. Anyone crazy or desperate enough to commit a crime in a city like this couldn't care less about anything as vague as the consequences of their actions. It's like a safety blanket, one with very few holes left in it. But it does have holes. Patching up those remaining holes takes effort, and that effort usually means rebooting the system. There's all kind of technical details and digital bureaucracy involved, but the end result is there are occasional localized blackouts, and the math used to schedule them is not impossible to predict. But those windows of opportunity are small and short. Taking advantage of them requires specific knowledge. You'd need to be involved in law enforcement, pub data, or city planning. They'd have mentioned if my client was a cop, and he wouldn't have needed a public defender either. His file says he's modded for heavy mass manipulation, not tech interfacing, so that just leaves city planning. But does he work for construction for the city? HK has only ever struck at times and locations where optics would be down. Even with the new devil's own luck, it can't possibly be coincidence. Wait, so you're saying when this woman was killed? Yeah, there was a blackout from around 8 to 9 tonight. That's a long ass blackout. Right on schedule, so to speak. And it included the area surrounding the victim's apartment. Well, what about DNA from the other crime scenes? Was my client a match? There's been no blood, no saliva, no suspect DNA at all at any of the crime scenes. No footage and no forensics. Also, no motives, tampering, or witnesses. It's been like hunting a damn ghost. We didn't even have a murder weapon. Until now. Finally, a lucky break for the boys in blue. Scanners, cams, drones, forensics, no matter how you dress it up with tech, all detective work relies on one basic assumption. People make mistakes. But HK is the kind of monster who doesn't make mistakes, so why did he leave the fucking gun there? Only reason we even caught him tonight was because he finished what he had set out to do all along. So was my client on the list of suspects before tonight? Weren't you listening? There was no list of suspects. We questioned some X's, a few CIs, someone even spoke to one or two unlisted at some point. Nothing came of it. There was talk about starting on some kind of psych eval or something, but I never expected much to come of that. There's just not enough there to work with. In other words, the only thing they have, the only thing they could have to link my client to those killings, is the murder weapon. I can jostle that keystone, and the rest of their case should start to come loose as well. Alright, let's get the timeline. Time of death was 9 p.m., so right at the end of the outage. But we've managed to thanks to less biased sources, and we're pretty confident about what we've been able to piece together from their statements. They interviewed witnesses. They said there's no witnesses. Sounds eerily similar to real police work. The suspect and his girlfriend were arguing loudly with one another. So this person is the suspect's girlfriend. This doesn't sound right, based on the other things. Neighbors were very clear about that part. Couldn't wait to tell us about the happy couple's domestic problems. Everyone in the building knew they'd been fighting for weeks. And you probably gathered from what you saw in the arcs, there was a struggle. Furniture turned over, glass shattered. Okay, but the glass was shattered from a gun wound. There was a little bit of, what do they call it? Ceramic debris. But things go quiet sometimes before 9 p.m. And then there's a gunshot. Scrubbers are still scrubbing, looking for audio from the area to get a timestamp. But we heard enough concerned citizens to be pretty damn sure about the time. Right. Emergency services got a burst of calls from the block shortly after 9 p.m. No one seemed to recognize the sound for what it was, but the silence that followed was pretty universally alarming. Officers arrived on the street at 9:08 p.m., established a perimeter entering through the front door at 9:10 p.m., and they find your client crouched over his dead girlfriend, his hand covered in her blood. At which point they moved to secure the scene and the suspect. This doesn't sound like this guy did it at all. Sorry, did you say his hand? Singular? Your client's modded cybernetic right arm. How modded are we talking about here? Registered with HAL 8 Habilis, industrial grade lookalike. Says he's spec'd for dexterous manipulation of up to class 4 KPA, which means a minimum grip strength of, well, basically, he could crush your neck without even gritting his teeth. Okay, so why did he shoot a gun? Considering a career change? No, it's not that. It's just your eye must be very sensitive for you to put the patch back on each time. She did take the patch off for dramatic effect. And here I thought you just had 14-year-old sense of fashion. She said, Chunibyo. You think a cop would cover up her dominant eye because it was fashionable? So it's a modded eye? Maybe it's got an AI in it? Insomnia. I actually thought the same thing the first time we met. You what? But getting back on track, that arm of his has been in the shop for some time now. He can't work without it. Money got tight. Okay, so he didn't have the arm on him at the time. When did he put his arm in for repairs? 8 days before HK's first victim was killed. So he's only had one arm the entire time he's doing these killings. Your client was arrested on the scene after a preliminary scan found his fingerprints on the revolver. And no one else's. A revolver? What kind? The old kind. The real old kind. More specifically, Calver M54, 6-chambered, 10mm. Calver Hell Retro. You don't know the half of it. We're talking steel chamber, real gunpowder, mechanical firing pin, and no tags. No tags? How is that? Just how old are we talking here? Yeah, 24/7 location data, timestamp, trigger pulls, safeties coded to the owner's biometrics. For the past 3 decades, tags have made shooting crimes very unambiguous. So you're claiming my client used some kind of antique to commit these crimes? How else do you think he'd have gotten away with the 5 other times? If he tried to buy a gun legit, he'd probably fail the very first psych check. And even jailbroken pieces are only good for so long before update withdrawal sets in. So then M54, that's model year 2054, a 30-year-old gun. Well, that sure complicates things, doesn't it? In some ways, sure, but pre-tagging firearms are rare. Gotta be less than 1,000 of them left in the whole country, and fewer still compatible bullets. The ammunition would have had to be over 30 years old, too. The novelty of his weapon has kept us in the dark so far, but now that we have our hands on it, it's gonna put him away for good. Archive department complained loud as hell about how deep they had to dig, but with the protocols they found, the techs were able to match the rifling marks on all 6 bullets to the gun your client was found with. Rifling marks? Yeah, you guys know about the rifling marks. The bullet be got in a fucking. It's got a fingerprint of the barrel, basically. If all 6 bullets had the same rifling marks, we know they were all fired by the same gun. It's not as plug and play as tags are, but it's equally precise science, I assure you. And if that's not damning enough, the spent casings from the other 5 shootings were still in the chamber, without even needing to reload. The caliber your client was found with is the gun HK used to kill 6 women. No way to lawyer around that. Untagged gun just being anywhere near a weapon like that could warrant your arrest. Being found by the police over a dead body with an untagged gun used at 5 other crime scenes is just. To summarize, then, you believe that my client fought verbally, then physically, with his girlfriend, and then he retrieved this weapon and shot her. Yeah, pretty much. How did he look when the officers found him? Guilty. How was his affect? Quiet, detached, stiff. Not exactly the picture of a grieving partner. Every action may have lost him points with the cops, but beyond that, people react to loss in all kinds of ways. So long as the police are suspicious of you, there's no right way to grieve. What exactly has my client been charged with? Your client, Carlos Backer Flat. What a name. My client, Carlos Backer Flat, was arrested on scene at 9:50 p.m. Using his middle name already, they really do think he's a serial killer. The charge being the first-degree murder of his girlfriend, a Miss Diane Dawn. First degree? That's increasingly rare, to say the least. It's rare for us to get handed anything but crimes of passion around here. City's got damn near more cameras than people, so you gotta be really, really stupid to try and get away with murder. Well, Heartbreak's gotten away with it 6 times. So what's that make him? 5 times, and that makes him insane. I was gonna go with extraordinary. Let's split the difference and say he's extraordinarily insane. But nut jobs like that aren't renowned for their ability to think ahead. What makes you think this was premeditated? How about the fact that he stalked and killed 5 other women as a warm-up? A warm-up? Their story makes no sense. 5 previous bullets, 5 previous victims. None of them knew each other, lived near each other, worked in the same fields. Weeks of digital autopsies crawling up and down their online profiles. Nothing. So the serial killer chose his victims at random? If they have nothing in common, yeah, nothing in common at all. Other than that they all look like cousins. So what? The physical similarities are striking. All 5 prior victims were young women with brown hair and eyes, about the same height, comparable weight. Well, those features aren't exactly uncommon. Couldn't it be a coincidence? You really believe that, you should quit your job and start buying lotto tickets. HK's got himself a type. Anyone can see that. You're really gonna try and tell me you don't see the resemblance? A young woman, brown hair, brown eyes. Can't tell how she is from a portrait, but I can take a hint, or how tall she is. So you think, what exactly? That Carlos Flat wanted to kill his girlfriend so badly he went out and shot 5 other women first? Hey, if the shoe fits. If the shoe fits, then you put the shoe on the. What Sunshine means is that it's not uncommon for killers to displace their violence from people close to them onto outlets with fewer consequences. Drifters, loners, strangers, workers. He was probably building up the nerve for tonight by first practicing on these other similar women. Or he's just so far gone that he can't tell the difference anymore. It's not the worst theory in the world, but it doesn't fit. They want to claim those previous victims were practice runs, dress rehearsals for tonight's main event. But if that were the case, there'd have been signs of hesitation, nerves. There'd have been mistakes, on top of which guns are impersonal, execution shots even more so. There's no sadism or hatred or intimacy in a single bullet to the heart. Well, I don't know about that. A single bullet to the heart, it's a little intimate. Killing your girlfriend or her lookalikes usually is, if nothing else, a lot less sterile, if you ask me. We got something in the damn brain. Thanks for the chat, detectives. I think I understand the background well enough now. Candidly, I see the same strokes as you do, and the picture it paints isn't pleasant. But even so, it seems a bit unrefined to be brought before a judge, don't you think? Hey, it's only our job to catch the bastard. The DA is the one who gets the conviction. Besides, we're not exactly going to have to work hard to convince anyone of his guilt. And why is that? Because we found a handwritten confession at his desk. Well, that's unexpected. I'm sorry, you're now telling me that he wrote a confession? Has it been verified? Not yet. We have to muscle past everyone in fraud and disinfo to get that front of the line. Why bother? The note's covered in his fingerprints. There's a copy in the discovery data, but I should warn you, it doesn't exactly make for light reading. I'll have to manage somehow. I need to see this confession for myself. Sorry for everything. Can't say it enough. Didn't mean to hurt you or what I did, or do what I did. Did not want any of it to happen. Can't stay in control when I get mad. When I'm not in control, I hurt people without meaning to. Wish I hadn't broken them. Didn't mean to at first. But I was hurting. Wanted you to hurt too, but didn't want to hurt you. Words aren't enough. I know that now. I'll take responsibility and do what I've been avoiding. Please forgive me. Strange. That was difficult to read. Barely legible, in fact. Well, got a spin on that? No need. But it's a confession. Not a confession that he signed, though, is it? Not yet. And not one he intends to sign anytime soon, considering that he asked for representation. Yeah, the most wanted man in the city asked for a lawyer. Got you. Guess you're both lucky. Hardly. I just happened to be awake when the call went out. But I'm not so flush with work that I can afford to turn tail now. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go and speak with my client. What? He's not still handcuffed in there, is he? Look, counselor, with all due respect, we have strong evidence pointing to that man being responsible for 6 murders. 2 hours or so in cuffs isn't cruel or unusual, and that's for your safety as well. It's kind of you to worry, but I doubt it'll be any danger. He's killed 6 women. None of them were redheads. That's true. Seriously, though, I'd like to speak with him alone now. Camera's off, if you don't mind. Mic's on or off is your call, counselor, but we'll be watching the feed from right outside in case anything happens. And the cuff, or the cuff that is, stays on. That worried about me? How chivalrous. Yeah, my armor's practically blinding. Gross. I'll start up the unlock cycle. Counselor, just one last word of advice. If you have any interest in his well-being, I'd suggest you help him sign that confession. Not a bad idea. I do get paid either way. But the defense part of defense attorney isn't for show, detective. I mean it. 6 people dead is one thing, but he's also caused weeks of widespread terror and public unrest. Putting it another way, he's made the state look bad. That's a capital crime if there ever was one. And even if the death penalty is not actually on the table these days, I can guarantee he's not going to like whatever rehabilitation plan they draw up for him. Look, I've seen the virtual work release program in person, and it's being challenged before the Supreme Court. Yeah, sometime in the next decade, maybe. Just remember, the plea deal might feel like a loss for you, but if it keeps him from, well, that's probably a win for your client, right? Prison sentences are generally lighter for those who plead guilty, that much is true. Saves the court a great deal of time and money, and they show the gratitude with reduced sentencing. But no one will ever be grateful towards the heartbreak killer. Anyone convicted for killing 6 people, they'll never rest their mind another day in their life. Okay, 2086. That's the current time. I'm gonna leave you guys on a bit of a cliffhanger. I am going to call it there. I want to give you guys a little bit of something to play on your own. This is still everything I've played so far here is free. There are two paid chapters which you'll be able to play when if you wanted to buy them. Again, in the description as always. I will be continuing to play it. This game is definitely good. It has the Danganronpa feel, the Uchikoshi kind of AI the Somnium Files 999 feel, Ace Attorney feel, but better. But I mean, definitely better than Danganronpa. I'm a big Uchikoshi fan, a big fan of 999 and AI the Somnium Files. Not as big a fan um, of Kodaka's work. I think some of it feels a little juvenile, but this doesn't feel that way, which I enjoy. It's got some of the same sauce. It feels almost like a little JoJo to it when the color palettes swapping. But I mean the UI is very Danganronpa, and I love a good Danganronpa game without as long as I don't actually have to play Danganronpa. So this is a win for me. It feels a lot more adult. It feels a lot more um, like I'm not gonna have to deal with anime fan service of like a 16-year-old. So that's a win for me. Um, the characters seem like adults. I like that. I'm enjoying it so far, and I will be continuing to play it. Um, but yeah, this has been Of the Devil. I hope you guys had a good time. As always, eat some trash and do some science for me, and I'll see you next time. More Magfest games. I have a handful more to play. So we still got Magfest coming up, or Magfest games coming up. Anyway, you know what I mean. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys. Bye.